Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. AITA for refusing to sell the place I bought with stripper money. I worked as a stripper for numerous years. I have no remorse for what I did, and I only left because I was offered a better position. I purposefully lived as cheaply as possible when working as a stripper, small studio apartment, living off ramen, wearing old clothing, since my colleagues all told me that they could purchase their own homes on their wages if they saved a lot. Before I retired, I was able to purchase a 3-bedroom apartment outright. I leased out the other rooms for a time, but I became tired of having roommates, so I now have them available for short-term stays, but not for rent. I met him approximately 18 months ago, and we've been dating ever since. He is aware of my career history and has said that he has no objections to it. However, he has asked me to inform his family the white lie I periodically use on my CV and other documents, which is that I was a waiter, which I kind of was TBF. We discovered out I'm 2 months pregnant around a month ago. He thinks this is fantastic news and that we should move in together. I figured he'd be moving into my home since he leases his, much smaller, 1-bedroom apartment while I own mine, and I have space for a baby's room while he doesn't. I also don't want to leave my apartment. It's my apartment, I love it, and I could picture myself staying here for the rest of my life. I don't want to give up the security of owning a property and having to pay rent or a mortgage every month. However, he then said that he did not want to move into my home and suggested that I sell it and we jointly purchase a home. I said that I appreciate my apartment. It means a lot to me that I was able to purchase it, and it signifies years of scrimping and saving on my part. He then said that he understood everything, but that we should be living together by the time the kid arrives, and that he did not want to live in my apartment. I asked him why he wouldn't. It's a great flat. It's central to everything. It's spacious. It's got room for all his stuff. There's a daycare in the building, run-owned by another tenant, and a school 5 minutes walk away. The list goes on, and he said he didn't want to live in a flat bought with stripper money. That really irritated me, and I told him there was no way I was selling my property, and that he had never had a problem with my stripper money paying for this flat before. I said that I would not give up the security of having a house for someone who attempts to make me feel bad about something I'm not ashamed of. He said that his point is that if I sold the apartment, we could use the proceeds to purchase a new home. Wouldn't it still be stripper money? I asked. That's different, he answered, and I asked how. He then said that he was returning to his apartment because I can't speak to you while you're in this condition. He's returned to his apartment and texted me that I'm overreacting/irrational and that I need to think about this rationally rather than emotionally. He claims he wouldn't feel good raising a kid in my apartment knowing how I bought it, and that selling/moving is the best option for all of us, not to mention the fact that he isn't on the deed since it's my home and would never feel like our place because of this. I believe I'm the jerk because I see why he could feel like it's just my place, and I think I'm being too stiff at a time when we need to work together. Plus, I spoke to my sister and she agreed with him. So 2 out of 3 people think I'm wrong here. AITA. Update 1. I dumped him. During the chat, he said that he did not want to be a parent if I was not prepared to do all he desired, including sharing a house/deed, plus staying together. Also, at the outset of the talk, I offered something that a few people suggested. I'd be prepared to sell and share the home with him if he paid half, and he became extremely upset very fast. He also stated a few other things, so I'm not sure how it's all going to play out just yet, but it seems that I'll be a single mother. Update 2. Here's a quick review of my first post. I worked as a stripper for many years before I was able to acquire my own apartment. I'd been seeing my partner for almost 18 months and am now around 3 months pregnant. With the arrival of the baby, my boyfriend asked me to sell my apartment so that we could use the proceeds to buy a new home together, and when I refused, he called me crazy. Because of this, I assumed I was TA and my sister sided with him. Now for the update, since many people requested it. First and foremost, I dumped him. He first said that he does not want to be a parent if we are not a couple, but earlier this week he informed me that he wants majority custody so that he not only does not have to pay child support, but that if he wins majority, I end up paying him. He actually said that was his reasoning. He also operates his own company, which he admits is practically dead, and he was hoping that when I sold my property, I could use the money to provide a financial injection into his firm, so this was all about money for him, and I have extensive documentation of all of this. There will be a court case, but I've sought legal counsel, and it seems that I'll be able to get exclusive custody, which is what I aim to do. My sister has doubled down in the past few weeks and is attempting to get me to reconcile with my ex because a baby should have a full family. Therefore, I haven't been engaging her in my pregnancy, which she is unhappy about. She also informed our parents, which enraged me, so we're not talking right now. I'd also want to thank everyone who responded on my first article. When I first posted, I was genuinely convinced I was in the wrong, so having such an overwhelmingly supportive response really helped me realize that I shouldn't doubt myself so much. And with that realization, plus everything else going on right now, I've decided to go to therapy, which I will begin next week. Overall, the consequence of this will most likely be that I will be a single mother in the apartment I own. And, to be honest, it was a good result. Story 2. AITA for not hiring a nanny for my granddaughter when my daughter is off from school. My 17-year-old daughter has a 1-year-old daughter. The father isn't present. We won a child support case, but he has never paid a thing. It was vital for not only my daughter, but also for me and her mother, that she finish high school and eventually attend college. As a consequence, we established an arrangement. We will cover childcare bills as well as any child-related expenditures, diapers, clothes, insurance, and so on, until she graduates from college. In exchange, our daughter will focus on her education and care for her daughter when she gets home. Due to privacy concerns, my wife and I believed that a nanny would be better than putting our daughter in daycare where she would be exposed to other children. The nanny is a wonderful woman who has offered to babysit our granddaughter for extra hours in the past. We continuously promise her that it will not be necessary. My daughter generally goes for school soon before the nanny arrives, so I have 10 minutes with my granddaughter. When the nanny came today, we were discussing the potential of heavy weather blocking the roadways tomorrow. I told her I'd pay her for the week today, including a full day for Thursday, as she doesn't work Fridays. My wife is home and watches the baby. She stated that we may pay her on Saturday. I was astonished when she informed me that my daughter had begged her to work. One thing I informed her was that she was not employed by my daughter, which she was disappointed about. She is not given the option of choosing her own hours. Yes, we do have one. 2, we won't require our daughter until she is required to study or do anything else. I did tell my kid about it until she came home from school. She said that she and her friends were on their way to a party. She is stressed out as a consequence of her schooling and the care of a newborn child. I told her of the situation. I knew what you were saying, but this was our deal. It was at this point that she started too, explaining that all she had ever known was school and her child. I hugged her and told her that this was her bed and that she was lucky to be in the situation she was in at the time. In order for her to be self-sufficient, she may take on a part-time job and utilize her spare time to pay for childcare. That just served to annoy her. Despite the fact that my wife and I agree, our daughter is upset and feels that we should cave in at this particular moment. AITA, edit, since it keeps popping up. When my daughter became pregnant, she was given 3 options. With the arrangement shown below, the baby may be aborted, adopted, or kept. She refused to think about anything other than keeping the baby. We've also lately volunteered to assist her in finding a baby for this family.